cheeseburger.
Sonic.
A classic winter holiday tradition continues. Local 3 welcomes Ice on the Landing, outdoor fun for all ages at the Chattanooga Choo Choo. Skate now through January 29th. Book online at iceonthelanding.com.
I feel like a kid in a school classroom. I have pen and paper in hand taking notes this morning on the show. First talking with Kevin First from First Financial, now talking with Jay Kennamer with the McMahan Law Firm, also taking notes to go home and check my insurance policy. So good to see you this morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
You are kind of a public servant in a way this morning, because you were telling me you've had a lot of phone calls in the office just this week from people who thought they had full coverage and they're finding out that they really don't. Is that right?
Oh, this is so frightening, and people don't realize how frightening this can be for not only for themselves but for their families and the family's livelihood, especially sole wage earners. I picked together, just walking out of the office, calls that I got just this week, and we have what I consider to be a real crisis in this area of people that are involved in bad wrecks, bad injuries. One is a female with back fractures. There's only $50,000 available. Another, a male, motorcycle versus a car, $78,000 in medical expenses. Only $25,000 is available. Another one is a death. Only $25,000 is available. Another one, a 14-year-old, multiple fractures. Only $25,000 is available. And I hear people say all the time, well, you know, we've got full coverage. And they think, well, that should cover more than what it does. No, it will never cover more than what the policy says of $25.50, which is the limits in minimums in Tennessee.
Okay, now hold on. I'm going to pause you a second, because you know this well, because you work with it every day.
Yes.
I don't. So if I were to see full coverage on my policy, I would assume what you're saying these people would assume. But are you saying you have to read the fine print?
Well, yeah, there are
Like
limits. You buy certain amounts.
Sure.
People
okay.
say, well, we have full coverage. Well, full coverage just means you've got liability, maybe uninsured motorist, collision, comprehensive, different titles, but only to a certain amount.
Okay.
Now, people don't realize that when you go out and drive right now, 1 out of 5 drivers do not have any insurance. And that shouldn't be, but it's a reality. It's a fact of life. And more than that, don't have enough. The time of saying, well, that old truck doesn't mean anything much to me, I'm just going to have liability on it, and don't get in that truck.
Okay.
Because if you do, you're taking your own livelihood in your own hands.
You said to me, more than liability, what you want to make sure you have is uninsured motorist coverage.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's more important than liability coverage because it covers your livelihood. Now, an individual should think, do I have enough? Because if I think that, let's assume I break an ankle and I'm going to be down for 3 months. Put pen to paper, you've lost 3 months of income, you've had $40,000 in medical expenses, not to mention your pain and suffering, decreased quality of life, maybe permanent injury. You know, what's that worth? And would anybody, after they really think about it, go out and drive without at least $100,000 in coverage? And uninsured motorist is the cheapest part of the policy, one of the cheapest parts of the policy. No one should ever say, they give you the option of disclaiming it and only taking out liability. Worst decision ever. Don't ever do that. And that includes the 3 states, all 3 states I practice in. Tennessee, Georgia, and Alabama, the same. They'll let you disclaim it. Try to save a little money. Extremely bad idea.
Okay, I'm slow today. Explain that to me. What do you mean disclaim it?
Well, when you go to an agent or you call up online or whatever, they'll give you the option to disclaim. They're supposed to offer uninsured motorist coverage, at least up to the amount of your liability coverage.
Okay.
That you take out. Now you have the opportunity to check a box and disclaim it and say, well, I'm going to save a few dollars a month and I'm not going to take out the uninsured motorist.
Oh,
but
then when you need it,
idea ever.
So you might be saving $50 a month that you're paying thousands upon thousands for later.
Yeah, the liability payment is this, the uninsured motorist payment premium will be this, and you never disclaim it you need it.
Your insurance policies are on terms, and most people it's a quarterly term, right? They might pay monthly, but it's kind of locked in for a quarter or 6 months, right?
Yes.
So if you want to make a change, people are hearing you now and they want to call their insurance agent, they really can't affect that change until it opens back up again, right?
Oh, you can call and
you can make it on the spot.
You can do it right now.
Okay.
And people should run, not walk, and do not get out on the roadway or let their family get out on the roadway unless they have uninsured motorists that are covering them or covering the household.
Did I hear you right? Because I said, you don't want me to let people know this, do you, Jay? And I think you said yes, that they can actually contact your office. I know you don't want to be totally bombarded, but to say, this is kind of what my policy looks like, and I got this teenage son here, do you think I'm covered?
Oh, absolutely. You can give us a call and run through a fact scenario. We're happy to do that as a public service.
Okay.
And I will give you my frank opinion of how much coverage there needs to be, at least for uninsured motorists.
If something happens and you do have a wreck, I passed one on my way home to Ottawa just the other day, and it was shocking to me how in a split second, your life can just be turned around. If you've had an accident and it's too late, you haven't made these changes yet. Yeah. Nothing you can do from a legal perspective? Well,
there is. We have the ability to run asset searches and try to see if there's a issue or ability of collectability outside of insurance policies. People can bankrupt against any type of judgment. I've got one that sits on the top of a shelf near my desk that's $1.9 million. Of course, it'll never be collected because it's a dry well.
Yeah.
It's a frightening thing that someone could have everything in life in order, think they have financial responsibility, they've done the right thing, they've got full coverage, and they realize, well, that full coverage, that $25,000 seemed like a lot, but after that first bill rolls in, it wipes out the $25,000. It's horrifying.
And let me ask you this too before I let you run. It's one thing in my mind, as we've been talking, I've been imagining what if it was me or someone I love who was the victim of an accident.
Yeah.
If you cause the accident and you don't have enough coverage, your assets are liable now, right? They're vulnerable.
Certainly. There can be, and I've obtained excess judgments against what we call the offender or tortfeasor. I've obtained excess judgments, and that's because certain insurance companies didn't come right out when I demanded it and paid their policy limits to protect their insured, forced a suit, and then I end up getting a judgment in excess. And of course, then the defense attorneys and the adjusters have to answer to their own company for putting their own insured at risk for not settling the claim.
But with your insurance policy, when you're taking out uninsured motorists, obviously that's to protect you. Your coverage maximums, that's to protect you.
Yes.
If you cause an accident, you can't foresee what those damages are going to be to a person. If there's a death horribly involved or something,
Correct.
Is there any way to protect yourself on your policy in that case?
Yeah.
Or is that just where the insurance company has to step in and do its job at that point?
Well, you can have a liability coverage, and most people understand that that's the most expensive part.
Okay.
And they're trying to save some money,
right.
And most people don't have the ability to, buy the gargantuan policies. But buying an umbrella policy, which is a policy that covers you in excess, and most of them are $1 million, you can get those. I think I bought one for $400.
Okay.
For the whole year.
For the whole year?
Yes. Those are extremely inexpensive.
Okay.
So it's highly recommended that people should look into what would the cost of an umbrella policy be, because that umbrella just covers everything on top of your original liability policy.
Right.
And something like that can be a game changer for a family.
I have a feeling a lot of insurance agents' phones are ringing right about now.
Well, I should hope so.
So let me share with you the phone number for McMahan Law Firm, because, clearly from the conversation with Jay this morning, if you've had an accident, they want to be there to help you, but the whole hope is, A, that you don't have one, and B, if you do, the coverage is there. that you need.
Absolutely.
265-1100 is their phone number. He said he's happy to have his team kind of take a look and make sure that you are covered, but if you have your insurance agent, you know, you can contact them as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jay.
All right, thank you.
Hiring a contractor can be stressful. At Elevated Exteriors, we eliminate that stress with communication and integrity. We'll bring your vision to life, and we'll get it done right at a fair price. Call for a free consultation today.
Team, I'm proud of you.
Team, I'm not going to